You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You've contacted Morgan Stanley in Ohio.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
name is
yeah, yeah.
Emma, and I need to.
Listen, this is the main office, right? Like the main number for people like when they call in and they're gonna sell their Amazon stock, right? And if somebody has a W-8 Ben filed, which means no taxes on that, saying they have 4 shares of Amazon stock right now, when they cash out of them, they get full value, right? You guys don't hold nothing back for taxes.
No, a W-8 bin doesn't mean that you don't hold anything back for taxes. A W-8 bin means you're not subject to U.S. taxes, but whatever local currency tax they have, they would still be subject to that, and that would still be deducted out of the shares.
Deducted out of the share? What do you mean? So you guys automatically
So
write up? Okay, so basically,
shares,
listen.
they're going to sell a portion of the shares to cover the taxes.
Okay, so what do you say in what portion? What's the portion? It's like if somebody had 4 shares right now, what would the portion of that be?
Whatever the tax liability is with Amazon.
Okay, so you're saying Amazon set that liability up. Okay, and what percentage?
Yes, the same percentage they deduct out of their everyday payroll is the same percentage that they would take out from the shares.
Okay, so you're saying like if they're in Illinois, they would take out like whatever it is, 7%, right? That's what you're saying?
Right. So it wouldn't be Illinois taxes. So what happens is that it would take the 4 shares, calculate how much that is worth on the stock market the day of vesting, and then it would take out the tax percentage. That is including federal, state, and local taxes.
Okay,
and if
right.
you have a 501, 502, whatever percentage is taken out of payroll for every single thing is going to be taken out of the stock. Is going to be taken out of shares.
Okay.
They're going to sell enough shares to cover that tax amount, and then release the rest in the shares into the account for you to sell. If your vesting was the 15th, you're not going to have shares to sell until tomorrow.
Okay, so now you're saying that's as of tomorrow, right? Okay, so now basically, okay, now are you familiar with the Uniform Commercial Code?
No, I'm not.
You're not?
I'm sorry.
Okay, so now I would probably most likely need to talk to somebody within your guys' firm that would be familiar with under the UCC1. You know, you understand what I'm saying? That's international law. That's not just a W-8 Ben. Okay, and now since Amazon was already notified of that W-8 Ben legally, and it goes into effect as of June of last year, therefore, those stocks, regardless whether they sell them or not, are not subject to any taxes, right? And like you said, you're not familiar with that, right? You guys as a firm.
So the W-8 bin, if you are not subject to taxes, period, then we would be notified of that because Amazon would have that on file.
Okay, so that
right. Does not taxation at all.
Right. Amazon, listen.
US taxation.
Right, listen. Amazon has been notified. Okay. And so that's why I'm saying. So now,
they would notify us. We wouldn't have
okay, right. But you're saying that Amazon's the one that's ultimately making the decision to take taxes out of the stock, correct? You're saying that's just
I'm saying Amazon reports the tax percentage that needs to be taken from the stock. So if Amazon knows that you do not have a tax percentage that is taken, you are not liable for any taxes at all. Then they would report that for us, and there would be no taxes.
I know. Let me ask you this: Are you familiar that Amazon's under a federal investigation? So does that also include you guys? Also, do you know?
No, we would. No, we're not. We're not a part of Amazon as a company. We're a third-party company that runs their stock plan. We're not under a federal investigation with Amazon because we are not Amazon.
So you're saying you're separate from that?
Yes, we are a third-party company that just holds their stock plan and runs the account for them.
Okay, so now how do you guys, since you guys hold the stock, so basically you're saying you guys are basically the holding company for Amazon, correct?
Correct. We just run the accounts for it.
So you guys don't take no fees for being the holding company?
There's a commission fee that's taken out of $14.98 when you sell shares, but not when there's a vesting. The vesting is just a taxation.
Okay, so you're saying that's after they go to sell the shares, correct?
Right. Once they're made available and you have the ability to sell them, then we would take it out of a sale.
Right. Okay, listen, but didn't you just tell me that you're not familiar with the UCC1, correct?
Pardon me?
You're not familiar with the UCC1?
No, I don't know what that is, sir.
Okay, do you have somebody inside your firm that I could speak with that would be familiar with the UCC1?
Okay, do you actually have an Amazon account, sir?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. Like, you seem like you got an attitude. Is it something because you guys No, I'm saying, is it because you guys are hiding something with the way that you're selling the stock and forcing people to pay taxes when they're not?
No, sir, I'm not.
When they're
No, sir,
not
I don't have
subject.
an.
No, do you understand what I'm saying? When they're not subject under a certain amount, right? It doesn't matter what the state tax is. Okay, what happens when you guys are violating federal law, right? Remember, because Amazon's under an antitrust federal investigation.
So that has,
What's that?
their federal investigation has nothing to do with us, sir.
Well, if you guys are the stock holding company, when they do the forensic accounting, doesn't it make sense they would have to go through you guys? Does that make sense?
I mean, they may, but I don't think that would directly affect your account. That would affect Amazon's
Do you got somebody? Listen.
Also, I don't have an attitude, sir. You keep interrupting me, and I'm trying to get an understanding of what exactly it is that you're looking for.
Well, you just seem like you're a little bit nervous. Hey, you just seem like you're a little bit nervous, like maybe I'm the guy that's investigating the company, right?
No, sir, I would have no reason to be nervous, as well as we're not under investigation for any reason.
Well, if you guys are the holding company, and since there's antitrust issues with Amazon, that would make you guys also involved in the federal investigation. Correct?
Okay, well then give me just a second and I can confirm that with somebody to see if we're actually under investigation since Amazon is under
why don't you do that?
Sir, are you still there?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for holding. I do appreciate your patience. So, after speaking a little bit with my supervisor on staff right now.
What's your supervisor's name? Hey, what's your supervisor's name?
Darren.
Darren? Is he the main supervisor for this number, like when people call in? Is this the main place where people call in, correct? Like when they're dealing with their... Okay. Now,
What's the cost?
what did he tell you? Did he say he was vest in UCC one law?
No, he said we're not under investigation and we don't have that type of information, so you would need to follow up with Amazon. But if you want to speak to him, you can speak to him.
Yeah, let me talk to him.
Sure. 1 second, please. Sir, are you still there?
Yep.
Thank you so much for holding. This is my supervisor, Darren. He'd be more than happy to assist you.
Hey, Darren.
Hey, good afternoon, sir.
How are you today?
Actually, I'm doing well.
Okay.
It's a nice Tuesday.
How long you been working for this company?
Whew. Well, in this department, 8 years, but this specific company.
Okay, so you got a little bit of knowledge, right?
5.
You got working there for 8 years. You got a little bit of knowledge. Okay, now are you familiar with UCC one laws?
No, sir, I am not.
Okay, so now how's this tie in? Since you guys you just answer the phones, right? You actually aren't involved in any of the transactions.
The only thing we do in this department is administer the plan that Amazon provides us.
Right.
Now,
but like she said that the Amazon does pay you guys a commission for doing that, correct?
there is a contract between us and Amazon. Yes,
okay, what's the contract?
Oh, that I don't have the specifics on that.
Right. Who could give the specifics on that? I'm talking about
Nobody.
to federal investigators. Who could give the specifics on that? Who would like from your guys' company? Who would be able to give the forensic accounting department of the CIA? Who would be able to give them the specifics? Can you explain that to me?
The only thing I could say is any legal action or any legal documentation that comes over to us, or any legal inquiries.
Who inside your company would be responsible to in that department? Who would be the ultimate person? Would it be in them? Since you guys are so basically that's what you're saying, right? You guys just play the role of the holding company, but you do earn a commission on. So now when people go to sell their stock for Amazon's, like the employees, right? You guys basically still okay. Since you're not familiar, right? And the other girl that answered the phone was also not familiar under UCC 1 law. How would you properly be able to answer my questions if you're not? Do you know who inside your company, because they would have to be familiar with UCC 1 law? Do you know who inside your company would be familiar with that?
No, sir, I would not.
Okay.
That sounds like something our legal department might be able to handle. But
You're saying like in the legal department has a phone number?
no, I did not say that, and they do not, sir. It's not a department that we actually pick up a phone and call.
Right, because they want to stay hidden behind the scenes, right? But when you're dealing with forensic accounting, right? Are you familiar with how forensic accounting works?
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay, so again, then this is where like the people like you that they got to answer in the phones could plead ignorance on this, right? Like say when you're forced to go to court on this because you guys are the holding. Okay, no, but I'm saying, listen, Amazon as a company has already been informed. They have an employee with the UCC 1, right? So that automatically, before you guys, even though you guys are just a holding company, right? Okay, that's still, like you said, you guys aren't involved in any of the other federal investigations that Amazon's currently under, right? Including the Tradings with the Enemies Act for doing business with Iran. Okay, so now, since you guys are the holding, when they do the forensic accounting, right? Since you guys are the holding company, guess what that makes you guys involved in? That would also make you guys involved with the federal investigation, correct? On the forensic accounting, since you guys are the holding company for all the employees for Amazon, right?
For the data that they send over to us, yes.
Okay, for the database. Okay, so now the database would be also subject to the forensic accounting, right? Correct? You guys are subject to federal.
I have no clue.
Oh, okay, you're saying you don't know because you just answer the phones, but like you said, somebody can't just call into your guys' legal department, correct? And speak with them.
Right.
Okay, because again, they want to hide. They eventually they got to deal with it in court anyway. But under UCC 1, and this is what I'm informing you because ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Okay, so when you got employees that are under UCC 1s inside the company of Amazon, now guess what? You're violating international law by subjecting the stock to the taxes. Are you familiar with that? Like I said, how could you be? You're not informed of what the UCC 1 is, correct? You don't know. You don't have any idea what that is, do you?
Can I ask you a question? Do you work for Amazon?
Like I said, if you wanted to put me in touch with somebody in the legal department, I would be more than happy to break that down for them because again, Amazon is currently under a federal investigation. I just pointed that out to you, right? You're familiar with that? They're under a federal investigation for doing business with Iran. Okay, this also with you guys being the holding company. That's what I'm saying. I'm informing you. That would also include you guys as being the holding company for the Amazon stock. Like you said, you just admitted, right? You guys get paid a commission. So if you guys were to get paid a commission, right? If you guys were to get paid a commission, that means you would try and dissuade Amazon employees from selling their stock, correct? You would want them to hang on to their stock as long as possible?
No, that's incorrect.
Okay. So you're saying they're free to sell them whenever they want, correct?
For the department that I work in, we are able to sell shares that are available to each and every participant.
Okay, now on the forensic, right, listen, on the forensic accounting, listen, so on the forensic accounting, since Amazon's been open, you guys have been the holding company since they've been open, correct?
We became the holding company back in 2014. That's our involvement.
Okay, so you guys have been doing business with Amazon since 2014. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's common knowledge, yes.
Now, did they make you guys write common knowledge? So common knowledge also lets you know, like you said, are you like one of the main people that's involved in the, when the employees want to sell their stock?
I work in the department that they call if they want to sell shares, yes.
Right, okay. And so, like you said, you guys personally get paid a commission, right?
No, I don't get paid a commission for transacting on accounts. As far as the employees within this department, Global Stock Plan Services with Morgan Stanley, we're hourly wages, and that's it. We don't have a commission.
But you guys would also be subject to the federal investigation since it involves with the Tradings with the Enemies Act, correct? Are you familiar with that? You're probably not familiar with that either, are you?
No, I haven't heard that term, no.
Okay, so you would try and and what's your name again?
My name is Darren.
Okay, Darren. Okay.
Yes.
And like I said, so basically, if you were pulled into court under the federal investigation, you would cooperate, correct?
Oh, of course.
Okay. You wouldn't try and leave the company. You would, like I said, you guys will upfront give the numbers to the CIA investigators, right? Correct? Am I right? You guys would totally cooperate with that situation, right?
Oh, absolutely. Any legal documentation that comes across, our legal department is fully capable of answering any questions or helping anything that's necessary.
Okay. So now you're saying you guys aren't paid a commission to try and persuade Amazon employees not to sell their stock, but is that why you guys penalize them on the taxes for... Was there anything written in Amazon's contract that said that was legal to penalize people being under the UCC 1, which is international law, right? And to subject that employee to any taxes when the W-8 BEN, are you familiar with that form with the IRS?
Yeah, the W-8 BEN, also the W-9 for our domestic participants, yes.
Right. Okay, so why do you guys label it? Why do you guys have to label it as a W-9? Is that just how you guys do it with the IRS? Is that why you?
Yeah, that's how we identify who pays U.S. taxes and who doesn't pay U.S. taxes. It's for the IRS strictly.
Right. So I'm saying you guys would have to be in the company. You would have to be informed of that law, correct? Like you're familiar. It's obvious you're familiar with the W-8 BEN, right? Correct.
Right. Yes.
And you realize before a certain amount that's not taxable, correct? Can you tell me the number? Can you tell me the number off the top of your head? What's taxable and what's not taxable?
I can. The way this works is if somebody has shares with our firm, again, being the administrator for Amazon, and they're looking to sell stock, the IRS requires a tax form, which is either the W-8BEN or W-9, which you've just indicated. If the form is not on file and shares are sold, the IRS regulations.
Okay, so now can the employee listen? So
it's
listen.
28% withholding that happens on the sell.
Okay.
So it's 28%. Yeah.
It's how much?
28% is withheld.
On what?
On any transactions that are done, any sale of stock or any dividends that are credited to the accounts.
You're saying you guys hold 28%?
We initially hold the 28% for a short amount of time. In that time, if the participant
okay, when you say a short amount of time,
then we automatically turn that money back to the participant. So
okay, when you say a short amount of time, what's the laws under the UCC 1 that says that that's okay to do that?
Well, I have no idea about the law you're referring to. I just know about the IRS regulations for people.
You're saying you have a little bit of common knowledge on the WBEN, right? Correct? Now you're saying, okay, listen.
Yeah,
now since the company, right? Since Amazon's already been legally, now how about this? Can the employee fax and the copy of the WE-BEN?
Yes, they can actually. Yes.
To you guys, right? Okay, and what's the fax number?
What's the fax number?
Yeah.
Do you have a piece of paper and a pen ready?
Yep. Go ahead. I appreciate your help, by the way. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. Make sense?
Oh no.
Okay.
That's fine. I completely understand. I'm just able to answer, the questions that I know.
No, hey, look, you're being very helpful.
I appreciate that. The fax number is area code 614.
Okay.
Okay. 467.
Okay.
4471.
Okay. Now, since
that's our server for our operation.
Okay, that's the best one. Okay, so now they can fax in the WBEN directly to you guys. So this way nobody can play games, like I said, because it's already filed with the IRS. So you guys have to abide by that law in the first place, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Right off the top, right? You're on the same page with me. It's whatever's filed. It's whatever's filed with the IRS that you guys have to abide by that laws. If the employee is under the W-8BEN, right? Correct. You're saying you have to abide by those laws.
Yeah, that's why we always ask our participants to send
okay, so now on the participants, when they've got an active W-8BEN, now you guys still hold a percentage under the W-8BEN.
So if you were a participant that needs the W-8BEN form on file, and you have that form on file, and it's a valid form, it can expire, but that's 3 years down the road. But during that time frame, if you sell stock, we're not going to withhold any taxes from you. We'll just simply, withhold any commissions and fees that have been agreed upon through Amazon. I think it's like $14.95.
You mean per share?
Send out the rest of the funds, yeah.
You're saying it's $14.95 per share?
No, $14.95 per trade. So if you sell 100 shares or 1,000 shares,
doesn't matter the number. Okay, I got you. I get what you're saying there. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, like you're saying, as long as the person, so it would probably be best to notify you guys completely of the law. Which, like I said, you seem like at least they got you educated on that, right? You understand what I'm saying? So it's better than me calling in and somebody doesn't understand the W-8BEN. They would have no idea what I'm talking about. Correct? Okay. So now you're saying it's the commission, which you guys hold. Basically, you just said what was the percentage on the transaction?
The commission is like $14.95.
So that's what you're saying. If the employee had 4 stocks and they went to sell them, the only commission that you guys would hold out as a company is $14, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you wouldn't be able to hold out any taxes since the person's below what is eligible to have capital gains taxes, correct? So therefore, it wouldn't be subject to any taxes or any fees because it's covered under the W-8BEN, right, which is international law.
Yeah. If you're, as we were talking about the withholding amount, if it's not on file, that 28%, the commission, again, is something that we've agreed with Amazon as a company that we would, charge for selling the stock, and that's it. We don't withhold any additional taxes or any additional amount of money as long as the form's on file, like you were talking about.
So is the employee required to notify you guys personally since you guys hold the account it would make sense that it would probably be best if they informed you guys up front, correct?
The only thing that we can do now, I understand what you're saying, but the only thing that we do here is if the gentleman, whomever it is, has a number of shares with us and they want to sell the shares.
They want to sell them tomorrow. That makes sense to you? Because that's when the time's up on that. Okay, so say they sell them four shares tomorrow at the 108 or whatever it's sitting at. They would get the, other than your fee for the one transaction of the $14.95, correct? Under the W8 ban, you guys wouldn't hold any taxes, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. No, like I said, hey, you answered my questions, man. Like I said, so it's obvious they educated you a little bit on that. So I will make sure, because like I said, the employee's actually working. Okay, so what would be the best time to call in tomorrow? Now, if the employee has a trust account, it doesn't matter if they transfer the stock into a personal account, correct? Because the W-8 Ben is already illegally filed with the Secretary of State. So
yeah, even if there's a transfer of shares out of our accounts into whatever account that the person wants to, we're still not withholding any taxes.
Other than the $14.95 for the one transaction, correct?
For a sell of stock, correct.
And then, like I said, if it's four, doesn't matter, and that goes for, it doesn't matter, like you just said, right? It doesn't matter the number of shares. That's just per transaction, correct? So that's a pretty cheap transaction, you know?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
You know, if somebody's got like a lot of shares, you know, so that's what I'm saying. You guys as a company, that's what you're saying. That employee would be allowed to sell their shares tomorrow, cash out on them, and then even like they don't have to deposit that directly like into a trust account or nothing like that, right? They can just have, because they're their shares, they can have them transferred into a personal account, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
That's why.
That's like they can leave the shares here. They don't even have to sell them if they don't want to.
But they can still they can leave the shares there, and they can cash out on them, right? That's what you're saying.
That's correct.
And then they can leave them with you guys as a holding company. You're saying as a person outside of Amazon.
Yeah. Let's say that the same person has shares produced or acquired through Amazon. If they leave the company, we don't require that they move the shares out. We'll still hold the stock.
Even when they leave the company?
Even when they leave the company. The only time that we ever request shares to be removed is if the company, because remember, we're the administrator for the company's shares, if they tell everybody that, hey, if you no longer work for us, you can't keep the shares here. That's very, very, very rare. And
I got you. No, that's good that you guys have that in place. So basically, so they cash out on the price that it's at. So then this is where, like, so you guys start a personal account for them? How's that work?
Well, the only way to start a personal account is if the participant requests one, and then of course there's.
Okay, now can they start? Listen, now would the person can the person start, since they've got an active BEN and an active trust? Can the person under the trust name start that account with you guys directly?
It wouldn't be with this department, but
you guys can do that.
Client service departments within Morgan Stanley, client advocate departments. Walking into one of our branches and speaking to a financial advisor, there are methods to open up different types of accounts.
Okay, what type of, like, okay, now what type of ID would they, do they just need to bring their basic ID with them, or do they need, like, you know, on the bank account, like, they actually had to have a couple IDs. So basically they just got to have one ID and then something that verifies the address. Is that how that works?
I believe so, yeah. Okay. Again, this is not the exact department that handles that, so.
No, I understand. Like I said, no, hey, look, you've been helpful. Like I told you, like, you know, a lot of people, I asked some tough questions. You understand what I'm saying? Because I fully, I'm an Air Force veteran, so I fully understand the law. Makes sense? Yeah, it makes sense on why I care so much about this country. You know, I pray for our troops every day. Makes sense? So don't think you're talking to somebody that's just being funny or trying to ask you a bunch of funny questions. I just know that there's a lot of people are misinformed on some things. Okay, so now basically you're saying tomorrow the employee could transfer them. Okay, so say the employee doesn't have an active account with you right now. How's that work? Where they transfer the stock out, cash out on the stock. So then that's what you're saying. You would still, even if they don't have an account, that you guys would still hold that for them till they wanted to cash out?
Well, what will we do now if they are looking to sell the stock or cash out like you've indicated, we would send them the money. We couldn't hold on to it. We would have to get it to them, either check in the mail, whether they have a bank account, we can wire the money to the bank account. Federal Express delivery we can set up for them. But the bottom line is, once they sell the stock, we cannot, by law, hold on to those funds. We have to disperse those out to the participant.
You're saying other than the $14.95 fee, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So after
and any other, and just understand that if someone sells stock and they want to have FedEx delivery, there is a fee for the expedited delivery services. But
okay, how much would that be?
Give me a second.
About $24 or something, right? I know it's a little bit.
It's something like that. It's I think like maybe 25 for FedEx. But give me 1 second here.
Yep. Appreciate all your help, by the way.
No problem. All right, almost there. Just have to pull up the company information here. All right. As far as proceeds delivery, if the participant had a bank account and we can wire the money there, it's a fee of $12.50.
Okay, now on the wires, are you guys do you guys have the active how they just did the ACH wires and they said they can do it same day? Are you guys up on that?
Okay, now that's a very good question because there's two types of wires. One is a Fed wire, which is $12.50.
Yep,
and then the other one, like you just mentioned, ACH, or we call it electronic funds transfer, there's no charge for that.
Okay, so basically there's no fee to do that. Okay, and usually that because I know like a lot of people's systems aren't up to date on that, but the actual bank that they bank with, they are up to date on that. So it'd be a matter of whether you guys, like I said, because I know they're still implementing those systems, so you can't expect everybody to have that in place like right now because they're still fully implementing that, and I understand that. Okay, so but you're saying it would be within 24 hours. Okay, so now let's say, like, what time are you guys open till? Like, somebody that can call this line?
Yeah, we're open till 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We open at 8 a.m. Eastern Time.
Okay, so
and
basically...
we're here till 8 p.m., yeah. Now, we have two sites that will answer questions. The one you've reached now is in Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
The other site is in South Jordan, Utah.
Okay.
So you can speak to anybody from either one of those two.
Okay, so they're open a couple hours later.
Exactly, yep.
And then what's the number for that one?
It's actually the same phone number. We work on a specific phone service that disperses the calls evenly, so yeah.
Okay, so then, like you just said, if you do the ACH wire, right, it should be within 24 hours at the latest, but like I said, it's supposed to be 5 o'clock that same day. So now, and you said you guys are open till 8, so the employee would be able to call tonight, and if they want to cash out, like, can you double check that for the Amazon? Like, do you have a way to double check, like, the specific dates on when the person can cash out? Because I know that they said whatever, it was supposed to be on the 15th. So,
okay. Let me kind of break it down a little bit for you, and I'm going to give you a lot of information, so stop me if I go
ahead.
too fast.
I can handle it. I'm a smart guy.
I know you are. Okay, so give me 1 second here. First I want to do is go back over the proceeds method. Now, I did indicate the electronic funds transfer, and I also indicated the Fed wires. What I didn't indicate, and it's extremely important that I tell you this, is that whenever you sell stock, there is a 2 business day time frame before any money can be released. That's an SEC regulation so that the shares are moved and the funds are moved.
But if they cashed out tonight, listen, if they cashed out tonight, they would get today's price, correct?
Well, the market, that is the New York Stock Exchange, it's actually open until 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Right.
So if someone were to call us tonight and they're asking to place a trade and it's a market order, in other words, whatever the market price is, the market has to be open. So tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
would be the time.
Execute, and it'll be locked in at that time.
Okay, so it would be locked in and whatever. Okay, because the stock market opens at what time?
9 a.m.
Right. So 9 a.m., right at 9 a.m., they could do that. They could have you guys on the phone, correct, and then sell them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so again, let's say in your example they did you call tomorrow morning and they want to sell and it's 9 a.m. and we're going through, excuse me, I think it's 9:30. 9:30 to 4, that's what it is. I got my numbers backed up.
No, cool.
9:30 is when it opens and 4 p.m. is when it closes.
Okay.
Okay? Had it backwards. So 9:30 they call in, they want to sell their shares. All right?
Right.
We will actually tell them, we'll walk them through the process, and we will tell them exactly when the money will be released, and based on the method that they choose to receive the funds, we'll tell them how long they can expect for it to be received. And here's an example. Because it takes 2 days before anybody can release the funds, if they do a Fed wire, the money will be released on that second day after the trade date, okay? And it is possible that the funds will hit that account on that day. But we always want to tell them it can take up to 24 hours, okay?
Right.
That's
But
Fed wire. That's
okay, so you're
discount.
saying it's whatever the stock's sitting at that time of when that 24-hour period passes, correct?
Whatever the stock is at the time that they call us, that price is locked in. We will actually be able to tell them what it sells for and how much money they can expect to receive. That will be locked in the time that they actually call us.
Awesome. So you're saying that from the time that the person calls in, you guys lock in that price, and it doesn't matter. So the 24 hours really doesn't have too much of an effect on it, correct? You're just saying
yes, that's correct. It has no effect on the price of what it's sold for. The only time that I'm mentioning is that it has an effect on how long the person can before he receives the funds.
So on your end, that's what you're saying. On your end, you guys when you guys do that, it's instant, right? Other than the 24-hour hold period.
Right. You're right. Other than the 2 days and then the potential 24 hours after that.
Well, it's obvious you guys have got to have a pretty good system in place. And like I said, I wasn't trying to give you a hard time on the Amazon investigation, but yes, seriously, as an Air Force veteran, Amazon's under a federal investigation for doing business with Iran, and I'm sure you guys as a company, they probably don't talk a lot about that, but hey, let's be open and transparent, right? Because you guys are under all kinds of regulation by the SEC, correct? That's you guys. You as a person work for this company had to take all kinds of tests. You had to have your license, and basically they're on their toes on. Look, don't be fraudulent, right? You agree with me on that one?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, absolutely. Good. Me and you are on the same page, so don't think I'm trying to mess with you or anybody else inside your company. Okay.
Right.
Like I said, you've answered. Like I said, you're pretty informed, so it's obvious they've given a pretty good person this job. So, like I said, and that's all it is. And you clarified, the things that I've asked you as far as like basically when the person like you just said, you're familiar under the W.E. Ben that they're not subject to any taxes under that. And that basically, other than the $14.95 fee, correct? And then the 20. Yep. So then, when they cash out, like say they cash out tomorrow, then they're locked in at that price, and it doesn't matter if it takes the full 24 hours. But like I said, it should actually be done by 5 o'clock that same day because that's the system. I'm sure you guys are under that system because you guys being in the financial markets under the SEC, it was actually the SEC and stuff that put that in place, and a lot of people, really don't understand that, I guess. And that's why they did that, because they wanted to, because time is money, correct? And when you're dealing with stocks, I mean, it's obvious that's the case, as far as that. And like I said, there's reasons why, and I think you can understand this, there's reasons why you're regulated because it's best to abide by those rules. It's like the UCC1, and I know you said you're not real familiar with that. Well, it's the same concept. There's a reason why it's called the Uniform Commercial Code. Make sense? And there's a reason why the W-8 ban goes into effect, and it doesn't matter if you want to call it a W-8 ban or the W-9. As far as the IRS is concerned, it's the same thing, correct? Just a different name for a different form. But you guys all have to, the IRS and everybody has to abide by the federal law and the SEC regulations, correct? And everybody knows up front, especially you being a financial guy, knows that could get you a lot of prison time if you play any type of games with the SEC, correct? Am I right by saying that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So like I said, and then actually, you know what? Since you're a pretty helpful guy, when the employee is done tomorrow, do you actually have a number or an extension to where are you working tomorrow?
I am in the office tomorrow, yes. Okay.
Now, if I call the 1-800 number that I just called, can I request to speak to you?
Yes, you can.
Awesome. Absolutely. Like I said, no, I appreciate like I said, I appreciate all your help, man. And I can tell you right now, you're an honest guy because you've answered all my questions. And usually, when people are being deceptive, they won't answer questions. And like I said, trust me, I'm not trying to mess with you at all. And like I said, I don't blame you for the federal investigation that Amazon's under, which I think it's something that your company should address. To be blunt with you on that end. But no, I don't think you guys are responsible for some of the shady stuff that Amazon was doing behind the scenes. No offense to them. I'm not trying to point fingers at them, but since people like yourself have to abide by certain laws and certain federal laws, don't you think that should be across the board for everybody? Doesn't that make that better for everybody? That everybody just abide by like the UCC one, correct? Just abide by those universal codes because you save a lot of people a lot of time and a lot of hassle, right? Am I correct by saying that? Isn't it just best that you guys being subject to the W-8 ban through the IRS, right? That you guys just abide by that, correct? I'm right by saying that, ain't I?
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, you're a pretty smart guy, man. And you said, what's like? You want to give me your first and last name? Or are you the only guy with that name that's working in the office tomorrow?
I'm the only Darren in this office, yeah.
Okay,
yeah, no matter what site you get a hold of, I'll be the one.
No, like I said, hey, Darren, I appreciate all your help, man. Like I said, you definitely answered my questions. And you said you're open, so 9 o'clock, we can call you tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, we're open till 8 p.m. Eastern time, yes.
Okay, but I'm saying like 9 a.m., is that like like you usually have meetings or anything? Or do you have any...
Well, as far as my schedule, I come in at 9:30 and I leave at 6 p.m.
And you're pretty free. That's why you go in, right? You basically... No, you're a pretty informed guy. You know what I mean? Just off understanding the W-8 ban, you understand the laws on that as far as the IRS. It's obvious, like I said, you know what you're saying because you've been able to answer some of my questions that other people can't answer. Makes sense? And that's why, hey, you know what? They should give people like you a raise for being informed because that's what it's about. Because by being informed, you will avoid your company, having to deal with certain legal, repercussions and stuff like that. Like you said, if you am I right by saying everybody has a fiduciary responsibility, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely correct.
See, a lot of times when I bring that up to people, they look at me funny, and I'm like, well, that's kind of funny. You don't understand that because here's what. Let me to make a long story short for you.
Sure.
Myself as being a veteran of the Air Force, a Desert Storm I was in, and I still feel like I got a fiduciary responsibility to the United States Air Force. Makes sense? To do my part, even though I'm not active, to say my prayers over our troops and all that, and make sure that they, that they get the care and the supplies and everything. I just, don't you think that's a pretty good responsibility, even though the Air Force doesn't obligate me to that? But as a person that understands international law, don't you think it's smart to understand that international law? Like on the UCC one, it tells people up front that ignorance of the law is no excuse. Because a lot of people will try and weasel out of, well, I wasn't informed of that. Well, it still doesn't make it an excuse to commit fraud, correct? You agree with that? Okay.
I do agree with that.
So
yeah.
I will definitely request you tomorrow. And since you're informed, and now I'll explain to them, that, you're informed, and you're saying you are working until what time tomorrow?
6 p.m. Eastern time.
So just request you by name, correct? And
Yeah,
they'll
fine,
transfer
absolutely.
me? No, hey, listen, you have a great night, man. Like I said, you're an honest guy. Listen, the world needs honesty right now. Makes sense? And it doesn't need last thing on earth that people need right now, especially for the safety of our troops. And not to bring up some of the issues with Amazon, but the whole thing with the fake news. See, I'm actually from Illinois, and there's that Navy SEAL that got killed, right? Makes sense to you? And that's what happens when you leak intel. That's what happens. Makes sense? Makes sense on the federal investigation with Iran and Amazon? That makes sense to you? Like why somebody would be put under a federal investigation, especially you being a securities firm. Why the SEC doesn't allow us to do business, whether we want to or not, with rogue nations that want to do us harm. Make sense? Does that make sense to you? Like why? Like you being a guy that's familiar with the SEC rules. Yeah. Shouldn't we all just be thankful for that? That there's reasons why they say that there's no why do you think they announced that Amazon's under? I'm surprised they even announced that yet, because those are some pretty serious issues And like I said, so it's something that, you know, everybody needs to be transparent about. Makes sense to you? So like I said, I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow, because like I said, it's gonna save both me and the employee a lot of time, because like you just understood with what I said to you, that time is money, correct? So the faster that they can do those transactions. So now, would you like me to fax the W8 Ben to you beforehand, and then put attention in your name? Like, you want to give me your first and last name?
Yeah, you're more than welcome to fax it in and put it to my attention. Again, my name is Darren, Darren.
Okay.
All right, last name Hosey.
Okay. Okay, Darren. I appreciate all your help. I will definitely fax in the W8 Ben beforehand, so I'll probably do that sometime in the next hour or so that way you guys got it for the first thing tomorrow. And like I said, I look forward to talking to you, and hats off to you for being educated like you are, because it's important.
All right, very good, sir. Look forward to talking to you as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, goodbye.